since clearly we share similar visions. A vision that was so clearly articulated by your president, Dr. Mortimer Lewis, at the start of this ceremony, and one that has been constructed by yourselves in drafting this program in a holistic program that is designed to engage not only teachers but the community, parents and pupils. It incorporates the use of blended learning, and again an instrument that we have some experience in using to date, and with which we are prepared to share that experience as and when you request. This represents the program that you have successfully drafted and secured, represents what I can only describe as an ambitious agenda, which clearly requires and demands dedication on the part of all who are to participate in its fruition. It is, however, realistic, and it is achievable. And I am proud to partner you in that process, in supporting the initiative as and when requested and required by the University of Belize. You can rest assured that we will bring to it the same enthusiasm that was demonstrated by the Honourable Melvin Hulse at the other part of his presentation. We will interpret our part with equal dedication.
Thank you, Dr. John Davis. As the minister just said, sort of voice, we're on the same page. We are thinking along the same lines. Thank you so very much. The date was June 12th, the year was 2009, and the venue was the University of Belize's Recreation and Sports Center, popularly called the Gym. You could not get a single seat. Every bleacher was filled. It was the occasion of Teachers' Day, postponed because of the swine flu threat we had last year, as the world will recall. And I say this to preface our next speaker. I say this because at that occasion, 3,100 plus teachers were present. Awards were given, teachers were lauded, and presiding was our Minister of Education, Honorable Patrick Faber. And what I most remember from that was just a Megegu Spimplanal coal seed, because what was launched was something that was so needed and is so needed in our system of education. The certification of teachers who already have an associate degree, but needed methodology. Good people, all the good ones that Honorable Melvin Hulse also mentioned, all the excellent teachers who already had a degree in a subject area but needed some methodology courses so they could be like the good teacher in the skit we saw. And that program was the brainchild of Honorable Patrick Faber. And as a member of the Faculty of Education, where I see these students coming for Saturday classes, where I see Sean Raven taking the lead with offering already blended modality instruction with those who are in San Pedro, so they don't have to take time off school, so the system continues to work. I see the results already as UB gets ready to launch its second cohort, as do the other junior colleges as well. So I know that education is on the right track and continues with all the challenges. There'll never be enough money. But the heart is willing, the expertise is there. People like Chris Aird, who is the Chief Education Officer, and David Leacock and Mr. Genety, and all the others who know what's happening in the system, who are advising the minister, who are making this happen. And today's Banana Belt project is, as I am told by Sean Rabin, really on the ride up, could be considered an extension of this Cert Ed program, as many of the teachers in this area have, in fact, some training, an associate degree here and there, but need the methodology courses. But now they don't have to leave their homes and areas. They don't have to deprive the children, because the training is coming to them. Minister, welcome to the microphone.
Thank you so much, Madam Mistress of Ceremonies. It is customary all over the world that we celebrate on the 11th of November, Veterans Day, and we do have people in our country that have fought in World War I. Some of them, few might still be alive, and World War II. And I became very close to veterans in this country because my father was an ex-serviceman, although he never went to war. It is customary that at the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month, that we stop to pay tribute to those who have given service in this regard. Now the 11th hour has passed, but I'll still ask you to bow your heads quietly as we remember them. At the rising of the sun in the morning and its setting in the evening, we will remember them. Thank you so much. Honorable Peter Eden Martinez, Honorable Melvin Hulse, Mr. Keith Henderson, our friends from the European Union, our friends from the University of Belize, Dr. Corrit Martha Lewis, Mr. Hoare the Provost, Mr. Davis, Dr. Davis from University of West England, our officials from the Ministry of Education, Chief Executive Officer David Leacock, Chief Education Officer Mr. Christopher Aird, Deputy Chief Mr. Alan Genete, and all the other officials. I see certainly Ms. Cecilia Ramirez-Smith from the Teacher Education Development Unit of the Ministry, Dr. Ella Jean Gillick. And I echo what some may have said before me, that we have really a lot of educated, highly educated people in this room this morning. And maybe it's common practice for the university, but it is certainly not common practice anywhere else, that so many wonderfully qualified people are in the room. And I want to acknowledge them. Take the time, especially if the students are around, it could be a serious motivational inspiration for them. I will ask all of the doctors to stand, the people who have acquired PhDs, because they are among a serious minority in this country. Let me see if I could name all of you, and I may have to be corrected. We'll begin with those at the head table. Dr. Corrit Martha Lewis, and I'd like you to stand, please. Dr. Ella Jean Gillick. Dr. Hoare. Ismail, is it? Okay. Then we have Dr. Vincent Palacio, yes. We have Dr. Ismail Cal. Angel Cal, sorry. You gave your brother name, but you don't. Dr. Rudolph Anthony. Dr. Cynthia Thompson, yes. Did I miss anybody? Dr. Wilma Wright. Could you remain standing? Did I miss anybody else? Sorry? And then I want to ask those who are enrolled in a doctoral program to stand as well. We have quite a few of them here. Dr. Jane Bennett. Dr. Jane Bennett. Dr. Rosemary, what's your last name? Madeira. Dr. Stanley Nicholas, soon to be, and Dr. Nestor Chan. Dr. Tanya Nunez. See? And Dr. Sean Rabin, sorry.
Behind you. Behind you.
Did I miss anybody?
Behind you.
Oh, and Savannah Woods. And yes, sometimes I'm enrolled, but although I think these, the classwork and the load. So I know Miss Jane is always behind me. I won't officially call myself a dropout, but let's give them a round of applause. if you would go on to try to name, ask those people to stand who are enrolled in a master's program or who are just qualified with a master's program. I know people in this room who have 2 masters and maybe working on other further studies. It goes to show that education does not stop, and you can carry it on even to the grave. I wish to tell you that it is a pleasure for me to be in the South here once again, and I thank the chairman, Mr. Leslie, and Principal Clint Foreman for always being so gracious in welcoming myself and the ministry to Independence. There are several reasons that I love coming to the South. Foremost is that I am always welcomed by the people here. They are great hosts. And secondly, that the 2 districts of Sand Creek and Toledo have always been considered to be the forgotten districts. Indeed, if you examine the statistics, you will see, especially in education, that it is hard to argue with this perception. Low enrollment rates underscore the inadequate access to education in the South. Examining scores reveal issues of quality in the South, and teacher training data shows that when it comes to the percentage of trained teachers, the South lags far behind. It is for this reason that the South deserves our attention, and indeed my attention. So I visited the South often, and I take absolute joy in coming to its people, because the South needs to be forgotten no more. And I want to thank you for waiting a bit for me this morning, but also for putting off the entire program. This was supposed to happen some time ago, and of course, because it was not able to fit me into the schedule. And I know that there are many other qualified people here this morning who have launched this program, certainly my 2 colleague ministers and the officials from the European Union and from the Ministry of Economic Development and so on. But I'm glad that you've waited for me, because I want to tell you that it is absolutely very, very important for us to show you and for us to say to you that this is an integral part of what it is we are doing in the Ministry of Education. We value this kind of initiative, and it fits perfectly into what it is we wish to do. In the Ministry of Education and Youth, we realized a long time ago that we need to pay special attention to the South. Today we make yet another step towards addressing the special needs of the South. Today we are gathered here to launch the Banana Belt Teacher Training Program that specifically targets primary school teachers in the Banana Belt. Our planning unit informs me that out of 4 of the over 200 primary school teachers in the Banana Belt are untrained. The Banana Belt sits right between the Sand Creek and Toledo districts, and as such is not close to either of the major towns where teachers could easily access training. It is for this reason that we drafted a grant proposal to the European Banana Support Program to provide teacher training opportunities for teachers specifically in the Banana Belt. Our proposal was accepted, and so we went out to a call for proposals for institutions to provide this training. And lo and behold, our very own University of Belize won that bid to provide this training, thus utilizing and building on our own national capacity, and of course keeping the dollars at home. Today, thanks to the efforts of our planning unit, our Teacher Education Development Service Area, the Ministry of Economic Development, and the European Union Banana Support Program, we take a giant step in the journey to addressing the quality of education in the Banana Belt specifically, and in the southern districts of Belize generally. The program will be targeting about 60 primary school teachers over the next 2.5 years. These are teachers who hold at least a high school diploma, and others who have associate degrees, but in fields other than in education. At the end of this program, we should have more than double the number of trained teachers in the Banana Belt. Although we know that trained teachers alone is not the sole determinant of educational quality, we know that it is a necessary ingredient in the recipe for educational quality.